It's just that it's burning products. So here, it's addition.
Meeting to order, all rise, say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does any council member have a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items? Okay, we'll move forward then. I would like to remind the council again to speak loudly and towards the public, not amongst ourselves, please. Okay, has everyone had time to read the minutes of the prior council meeting? You'll have
I think it said the comma, I think it was 2 zeros. I wrote it down. Maybe it was the mileage. It was in millions. Maybe it was the mileage.
Oh, yeah. Too many zeros. Okay, I'll fix that.
okay. Any other corrections or changes to the minutes? Second, any discussion from the public? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Passes with the amendment, the change. Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to our committee reports. A library report.
Sweet. 266 Wi-Fi users. They are gonna have a special event on September 28th. And I would like to do a little shout out to Lori and Tina because they do tech help to 21 people just bringing their cell phones and their stuff. So.
Any comments or questions from the public? Tree board. We did, there was no quorum. So. Okay, any questions, comment? Recreation Committee.
I walk off and left my note and talking to John. I didn't get any of that. He was supposed to get it, so that's good. Never.
Okay. Ordinance Committee.
Right, or hoping to get that soft copy from Civic Plus. Directing Joe, some discussion on how to proceed and try to get the draft up a little bit quicker. Start to feel on the city.
Any
That
questions?
and
Any questions or comment? Rail Yard Roundhouse, we're still developing the committee, so we'll be coming online shortly, I hope. Okay. Old business. Cody.
I think it was the last council meeting last month, the second council meeting of last month. I had talked to you guys a little bit more about some of the fire mitigation stuff that we had about earlier this summer. Wanted to come back and talk to you guys if you had a chance to decide where you would like to go with it. Would you like to go on kind of a social media campaign and attempt to do some public education and outreach? Essentially, I'm not asking for any funding. My department will cover any funding that needs to be done with it. No reimbursement on wages or anything. Essentially, I'm just looking for your guys' permission to move forward, working with Anita and doing these kind of public outreach posts and possibly doing some in-person visits to residents around town who are requesting assistance with kind of a property checkup. I guess I'd be open to any questions you guys have, any comments, totally open to your guys' suggestions.
so basically you're doing as a service. Media coordinator.
Yeah, essentially,
Positive, cost effective.
correct.
So you're doing the most.
Yep.
What
A lot of education about how to prepare your property for a wildland fire coming through. Reduction of ladder fuels, meaning fuels that would allow small flames to turn into large flames to turn into a structure fire. Reducing where you store things like firewood, branches, mulch, using fire resistant mulch rather than creating a tinder bundle or concrete to socket of your house. Trimming trees away from your house to prevent them from carrying into a structure fire, that types.
Or,
Unfortunately, private property, we cannot come in and do mitigation efforts on private property. It has to be either public property or we can assist a private landowner.
Questions or comments from council? From the public?
I would move that we have Cody, probably lead in, do some public outreach and some public education.
Any further questions, comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Passes. Okay. We've been talking about a local government service package. Roundup had approached us to go into a small jurisdiction co-op. We had talked at the last meeting that maybe instead of going with Roundup and Millstone, that we would take a look at Judith Gap and Rygate to see if they would be interested in being part of that. In talking to them, neither one has a definitive answer at this point, whether or not they want to. There was a confusion or a thought that they could still contact Dan Clark at MSU Montana State University Extension, local government, and have him come out for talks. We haven't got a clarification on that, whether or not they would even do that if you did not have the governance packages that they have set out here. So at this point, I don't know what to say on this, other than maybe we should or could push this off until maybe the end of September to give Judith Gap and Rygate a little more time to think about it.
We have that much time.
We have until we want to sign up. If they don't want to go with us, Dan Clark did say that there's Ronan would like to have go into a package with someone. Roundup, I'm not sure. I had not gotten back to the mayor of Roundup to see about that. Our only concern with Roundup is because they're more population in all the online classes and or presentations that they would have, we would be limited in what we could participate with. As an example, on the online courses, you have up to 15 people that can do an online course. And if they took 8 or 9 and Mel Stone took 3 or 4, we would be down to 3 or 4, roughly speaking. The other, yeah, and even they have two virtual offerings and 2 live offerings, but I'm not sure how that works with everything else. We're still in the process there, so. Any other questions, comments from the public?
The service packages for education for members.
Education of yes, councilmen, mayors, city clerks, assistant city clerks. Talking about more like building better boards or councils, fundamentals of Montana municipal government. It spells out exactly what the mayor is responsible for, what the council is responsible for. We've covered parts of that, but it goes into a lot more detail on that. There's also an annual schedule, quarterly offerings that they would have special meetings for the cities to get together on, if you're part of that membership.
If we can't get the gap and Rungy, why don't we try for White Sulphur and Big Tim?
At this point, White Sulphur and Big Timber are either already signed up or they're not interested in it. That doesn't mean that we can't check to find out, but Ronan was the only one that Dan knew of that was still looking for some, because this is the only package you could split 3 ways. You could split between 3 cities. All the other packages are a city at a time. And the next step up in package is $6,500. And it goes to 12,500 and 18,500. So you have to be a pretty good sized town to get in on some of this training. So this is the only one that's even close to our budget. Could I entertain a motion to postpone this until the end of September?
To the end of September.
To the last meeting in September. Okay. There's a second. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. I would entertain a motion to postpone the signs at the park. We've talked about putting up some signs about alcoholic beverages not allowed in certain portions of the park. The only problem we have is that our ordinances are not in compliance with that. We will have to get our ordinances changed to do that. So I'd like to have this item postponed until our ordinances are in line with that.
Make a motion.
Discussion from anyone else, public or council? All in favor, raise your right hand, opposed, same sign. Next item is the evaluation of the 2004 F-150 Ford that we would like to sell. I know you did not get it in your, did you get this in the packet?
Nope.
No, they
I
did
just
not
got
get
it
it in the
tonight.
packet because we weren't sure where to go with it. You see on the inside of these 2 pages, it gives you on page 2, it says, if the private party is, well, let's say this is poor or fair condition, the value is somewhere between $2,620 and $3,695. The other side says if it's in good condition, it would be worth somewhere between $3,180 and $4,455. We're looking to get a valuation. We did vote to, I think, to sell the pickup. If we put tires on it and we have fuel pump put in it, which you have to take the bed off and a bunch of other stuff, you could spend $3,000 to $4,000 and you're not going to get that out of it. So we'd like to sell it as is what we said last time.
95,000, but I do want to. Yeah, 195. So this is it with it running.
could not find an option for non. Like the, depends which day.
Depends on spot.
How long have we got it?
When we bought it in 2009, bought it when Tim Cavill was public works director.
Drawing anything,
So
right,
What value? Yeah, it'd be close bids. Just forward.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, any other questions or comments from council or public? What's your choice, council?
it's $2,000.
Any other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, passes. I do not see Dave. Pardon? Dave? Yeah, we'll put it out. Give him a couple weeks, maybe. Okay. Four Corners Recycling is not here this evening. We thought he was gonna be here the last meeting we were at, and he's not here at this one.
Although.
It-
Pretty months.
But he told Jack he thought he was supposed to be here at this one.
Oh,
So that's why I put him back on. This is for discussion regarding the recycle bins and what we had prior and what we are currently using and the cost value associated with it. And a lot of the reason is because there is an annual bin maintenance fee of $500, which we have been paying. But on our current bill from them, there's another $3,600 for rental of a bin. And there's a lot of different discussion in the past, but if you looked at your in your packet, there were 3 different mentions of it in council meetings, but there was no decision ever made as to whether or not we would do anything, with it. He said that he thought that he had talked about the fact that one third of it, half of the dollar value would go towards purchase of a new one. As an example, the bin that we're renting is about a $12,000 bin. So it would take, at $1,800, that's how much? It's about 10 years to pay for. 9 to 10 years at that rate on a rental. So we were trying to get clarification of that as well. Since this is a discussion item only, we will move on to the next item. Is that good? New business. Susan Vila wanted to talk about golf course.
it's not your responsibility only, because, the golf course, Jody in particular, felt like your policies to keep you abreast and informed of, and she took that to heart. And the outside steps that exit the upstairs of the clubhouse are in need of repair, and so they are going to start asking for bids to get those repaired. So doesn't cost you anything, it's just to keep you guys informed of a city property.
Any questions from the public? Next item on the bid is, or on the agenda is cleaning the water tower. We're looking at an action here. We just had the water tower cleaned Wednesday. It cost us $4,000. We were on what they said was a 5-year inspection plan to make sure it's not leaking, that it's not rusting, that we don't have any problems with it. And they were suggesting maybe we would want to go to a 3-year inspection plan. So every 3rd year they would inspect as opposed to every 5th year. The inspection did come out clean or neat.
yeah, he said he was surprised how clean it actually. But he said now that it's getting older, might be better to do it every 3 years.
The question that we have here is because of budget, we would have to either budget it for the next, 5 years from now, that dollar value or approximation, or whether we have to plan for that in 3 years. Your choice. And I think he said that we could go either way, right?
My opinion, I think maybe just to alert you guys, maybe the next round after our budget looks better. It was super clean. It's just, he's kind of prepping us for the next, it is getting older. But I think if another 5 years, we can change it. Yes.
Didn't we have a leak in them? Something like that?
A year ago, we had a leak. But the divers, when they came in and they took care of it. Yes, so they're divers, so they go inside. They have a vacuum it out.
What do you think?
I think it'd be a good idea to go 5 years and then after
And it
that.
takes-
Motion to leave it every 5 years.
Any discussion from public? Council? You leave it at a 5-year inspection? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same, passes. Okay. Couple items before I get to this. Journal voucher, that was this? No, pass-through account. This is pass-through account, isn't it? Okay, I've almost forgotten the wrong one. In the past, the city has been used as a pass-through on certain donations from organizations to certain other organizations in town. As an example, I think one time prior, money was donated to the Moose Lodge, and the money came to us, and then was passed on to the Moose Lodge. We currently have a situation where they wanted to do the same thing at this point. But if we do this, it could open us up to being what they call a pass-through for any grant action. So that anybody who applies for a grant, as an example, I don't know, wind energy or Calent or whatever, that if it's somebody that's not city related, then they would pass through us on special occasion. Is that right? And so we're questioning, do we want to do that type action, or do we want to limit what we do in that area?
What's the?
There is no benefit. No paperwork.
So if you were to say,
I wouldn't, if either yes or no, I wouldn't limit it. I would just say yes or no. Yeah.
Well, see, the. I don't understand. I
Uh,
don't think odd.
Complication in there.
So.
Yeah, all this time, I didn't reply to the thing, but there may be that they might not fit the environmental. But that is. If there's someone that doesn't meet the criteria.
I do not want to create. For one thing, it was an audit finding. I don't want to create for Anita. I think that there is an organization in this town that people could reach out to, and they have a 501c3, and that's community builders. So I don't think we want to get into the crazy mountain crushers and moose and the soda pop fountain police and we have enough things going on, and we have enough mess going on. I know.
Cody?
I would like to put in a little bit of a snippet here, I'm the grantee coordinator for a lot of grants that Wheaton County receives. And if you're listed even in the pass-through account, you as the grantee are responsible for all of the reporting requirements through them. So if you were to have any type of a state or public grant that requires the follow through for the 5 years after, even if it's something as small as a $500 grant going to a small community organization, if it ever passed through anything at the state level, you have a minimum of 5 years that you have to continue reporting on what that $500 did. And if the city were to be listed as the grantee on that, even if you did pass it through, then Avita would be responsible for maintaining those records for 5 years.
Stop.
Second.
Second. Okay, any,
And I'll play devil's advocate slightly. You're gonna have taxpayers and say. You know, you're an entity that should support. The public with the bigger taxes. How I feel, that's what I'm here.
And I would go back to what I said, we have an actual place that they could use. I don't think, I mean, it's. Well, I don't know, any village is what comes to my mind, I just don't think a municipality should get in. As devil's advocate, the Moose used it. But what if we tell Crazy Mountain Person, no? I mean, what is now gonna be the criteria for who gets to use it and who doesn't? I think it's opening up. I don't know. And it was not a committee.
I'm glad they did have a lot of come to the city.
okay,
I think Anita needs some organization that she can. If this comes up to her, okay, a list of organizations that they can. And instead of.
any other comments, thoughts? Motion on the floor to cease doing this as a city, as our city here. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same sign, passes. Thank you. We did not send out the journal voucher action. And the reason being, well, let me go back just a step. We got our audit done. We got our exit audit interview. Very enlightening, and in some ways discouraging, but good. From the standpoint that there were 10 findings this year. We had 9 last audit. We had 10 this year. 7 were the same as 7 of the prior year's audit. There were 3 new ones. Just for clarification here, those were all done before Anita's clerk position.
For you.
Correct. Or me, yeah. So there's a whole lot of things that were entered incorrectly. The journal vouchers are the corrections of a lot of items that they found. And you'll find out there's a lot of big dollar values in there, you know, like $60,000, $42,000, 52,000. I think there's a bigger one in there, $1,586,000. And what they were done is when the clerk treasurer did the journal entry, they either reversed it or they put it into the wrong account. And so the audit findings found a lot of these, and I think there's what, 13 pages?
We had 15 from this, 15 journal vouchers that we had to do for this year.
15 journal vouchers that we had to do for this year, which is the 26 year.
25.
25, okay, there we go, 25 year. Our 26 year would be next year's audit. Okay, so the question came up. Let me see if we have it here. Okay, what we need to have is the council approve the journal vouchers to be made to correct the books. Oh, okay, yeah,
What happens is, when things need to come out of water fund, things need to come out of sewer fund. What the previous clerks have done is they either put them in instead of taking it out. Or they did it in the wrong fund, so it's supposed to come out of water and they did it out of school. Or they did it out of solid waste. So there's several, you're looking at the fund numbers of where it should have been and where it's going to. And all it is it's on paper, there's no money missing. It's on.
because it involves money, council has to approve. Correct. And these journal vouchers were to correct those mistakes. Yeah.
I know that the moving of the money, the moving of the journal.
Second, any questions? Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, passes. Next question comes up. Would the council like us to bring these journal vouchers to you every time one is made? Or can the mayor have the power to make sure these journal vouchers are done? And again, it's just transfer money from one account to another. There's no fraud, it's just they were incorrectly entered. And we do come across them on occasion. We had some help with some that needed to be rearranged too. But again, this will be correcting things hopefully before the next audit comes out. So we don't have all these sitting in the wrong space.
So if we do that, just do.
If you approve those to be signed off by me, they would accept that. Or we'd have to bring them to you every time we have a journal voucher entry. Comments?
So you're the checks and balances to what? The treasurer probably and other clerk do, what you're saying.
On the journal vouchers. Right. When we find something that has been posted incorrectly, then we would have the ability to change that without bringing that to council every time. Now, an interesting thing, most of you are acquainted with the regular business accounting, correct? That's what you took in high school. Okay. Municipal accounting is a little bit different. It's called, in essence, you do it 4 times, and what you think are debits are actually credits, and what you think are credits are actually debits. And so there's a chance of making us screw up like that, but when we find those, we want to be able to correct them. Is that fair representation of it? So, yes.
Many times do you think happens? Maybe not even a month.
Not even,
Okay.
usually it's like the end of the fiscal year to, like, if there's, for the audit, she would have journal about, and when she was here that week, she had me, she had given me some to do and then finished them off with the exit interview. But normally, unless it's something that we realize has been entered incorrectly, I think I've done, in the 2 years I've been here, I think I've done like 5 other ones.
I would propose, because of the mistrust that has been here. I would propose that it's got a 2-person. I want Frank and you to both look at it. I think that'll make everybody feel better. Frank is the mayor president or the council president, and so I just think that would be I would think that would make the public feel a little better. That if there's two people looking at it, not just, because that happened. The former mayor and the clerk were close. I think if Frank, you've got time, don't you, Frank? Thank you. I think that would make everybody feel a little bit better until we get over this.
And we can bring them, I mean, they can come to you guys too, it's,
Meetings just that much.
okay.
You see. That's being.
Julie?
Why don't you give it another year? Why don't you bring, give it another year, get through this month of black it was, and then bring this up and change it to that. Bring it up, it doesn't happen now, it doesn't, you guys are gonna. You were better, it is, if you do this, that.
Steve?
That's why we voted these people in, it's another check and balance. I think it should stay before the council.
I would move that it comes before the council, all GJBs at least for the 6/27. So.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, passes. We talked in the we talked briefly in the ordinance meeting, not this meeting earlier today, but 2 weeks ago. And all of our leases, city leases, are up for relooking at and refining. And it was recommended that we have maybe a couple people and the mayor and our lawyer take a look at the leases and reevaluate them. And so we're wondering if we could get a couple council members that would be free enough to help in that process. I think there's what, 7 or 8 of them?
Like, I think there's like 10.
10? Okay, 10 leases that we need to go through. And you know, we just changed the ordinance because it wasn't an ordinance form. And we took it out of the ordinance form and so that we could have more freedom in the actual format of it and what is put in there. So that's why, you know, we're gonna sit down now and go through those ordinances or those leases. Okay. Okay. Could we have a motion that Frank and Charlie help the mayor and the our city lawyer go through those leases and get them up to date? Lawyer? Okay. Okay, is there a second? Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, passes. Okay, in your packet, you received a letter. What's wrong? Okay.
You need,
I have it here. Just different file. It's a notice to property owners, subject being the water and sewer utility base rate requirement. I think we brought it before that there were 48 houses in our city who at one time were hooked onto the water sewer, but were severed for some reason and never billed ever since they were severed. And that has put a, what do you call it, a little more cost on everybody else in town because they're not sharing in the infrastructure. So the letter is talking about informing them of the fact that we will start billing them, and it would be at the base rate, which is just the water and the sewer, the base water and the base sewer, which would be $108.15 per month. That would also include the meter fee and the solid waste fee in order to help out with those fees also. And then it did say if services were activated, additional charges would ensue, which would be the Central Montana Water Authority base rate of $37.72 per month, plus $1.75 per 1,000 gallons used, and sewer $1.75 per 2,000 gallons used. So it'd make the total base rate then, when they come back online, would be at $145.87, which is what everybody else is paying. Susan?
I don't know if this is a typo or if this is a word I don't understand. But I don't think the general public would understand that if they come back on, the base rate is gonna be a consecutive water system. I think it's but.
No, that's what we are called, as a consecutive.
Central Montana Water is a consecutive water system. We signed up for it. Yeah, no. It means that we are consecutively in the line of all the water that this organization runs.
Contract or the district, it's a water district. I just think that was very confusing to me. I knew what was going on because I was at the meeting. I didn't know that's what we were called.
Hey, Steve?
Some clarification, if it's an empty lot, they're still gonna get
No,
charged water and sewer?
no, only with those with houses. Only those with houses on the lot. A residential dwelling. If it's a garage, would probably not be billed. But if it is a house that someone could move into or live in, well, yeah. Well, and these are just the ones that have what we would consider a residential dwelling on the property. Now, we do know that there's several properties where there was a residential dwelling, somebody bought that house, tore it off and made it as part of their yard to give them more space, and those would not be billed, but these have a facility on them. Like that. Susan?
And this does not include those that we took off that day, like the apartments that need to be that in the.
Correct.
Correct.
This strictly.
This is strictly, they have this.
So the big parts.
Yeah, that comes under ADUs, accessory dwelling units, where you have more than one dwelling unit on a piece of property. And yeah, these travel trailer and motels, or not hotels, motels, the apartment complexes would be part of that. And we'll have to deal with, based on the ordinance that went into place, how to work with those.
Scheduled to deal with those or not?
Not at this point. This is trying to get this on so we can send this out. We will not be billing this month, but we will be billing the end of September. Because we have to give them notice in advance. Now, there was one thought that I had, and it's just up for you for consideration, is to remind them in this letter that if they do activate, that they have to also be aware of the fact that the hookup may cost between $400 and $1,500. Depending upon how it's set up, because we had one property that they worked on and their hookup or their, was through somebody else's property. So they had to come off the main line with a curb stop and et cetera, meter, et cetera, for the house, and it cost them $1,500. So it depends on how it's hooked up. Would make a difference whether it's a quick, easy $400 hookup or it's a $1,500 hookup.
Isn't that what it's a change in infrastructure and that's not what that says?
It could mean that, but I was thinking maybe it should have a little more definitive dollar value, so people know in advance kind of what it could cost them. As opposed to, oh, it's gonna be just hook me up, we're done. No, it's gonna cost you because you have to put in a meter, you have to put in a lot of other things. Because most of those, the meters are already dead on, correct?
Don't you think we should take care of the ones that got multiple places, hookups versus taking this one first?
Well, this was the easiest one.
Get the people who are already hooked up to use it. So.
Somewhere.
These houses on this are not hooked up.
No,
They
I'm talking
are,
about the ones you.
but those have special consideration because the ordinance that's dated 2013 says that you can have accessory dwelling units on them, but if they change hands or title, then they no longer can be grandfathered in. So we've got to go back and look at them, and we also have to look at what size service line they have in order to determine whether or not it's large enough. Now, you might get by with a, well, let's say, well, a dwelling house and a mother-in-law house that are currently hooked into the same water, same sewer. But under the ordinance that was passed, if that happened after, if somebody bought that after 2013, then we would be able to bill them for two. But you have to check the records on that, and then you have to make sure too, that whatever number of dwellings, it's going to be a correct number of EDUs water-wise. As an example, there are some apartment buildings that have a 3/4 inch line going into 4 apartments. Or they have a travel park where there's some 5 units that are relatively permanent, though that's not what they designed it for. And yet there's still another 12 or 15 spaces for parking, travel trailers. And so based on what the ordinance says, we could make exception and or change a few things in that. So we have to go into those more detail than what these 40 are here. That's why these are coming up first. We clear? Any comment from public?
So sent letter and adding the specific dollar value to the hookup.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Okay,
I mean, now what if you are paying water bill? And it doesn't, you're not using the house. Similar to what I do when I go to you, pay my water bill, or. You don't really have to look it up, right?
in this case, they do not have to hook it up to be billed at $108 in some odd cents. It's to cover the cost of our infrastructure.
Hmm.
Because again, we have a heavy debt structure on water and sewer lines that we've been working on in the city.
I'm just saying, if someone chooses to pay the water. Bill, they don't actually have to bill it.
They do not, but if anybody ever moves in there and wants to hook it up, we want them to know in advance. Yeah. Okay? And you did say yes on that one, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay, then it passes unanimously. Kyle, did you ever come up with a contractor or somebody that would work at the fascia and the capping for the library? And what this is the wall here between the library and the city office, because of the way they ran the roofing. The north end is over the top, and on this side, it goes up to the edge. And what we've got is the top surface is falling apart, and or the water could go down or is going down between the membrane on the roof and the wall there.
Currently it's separate.
Totally separate. Okay, and then also down here on this back end, past the city office here, the top row of blocks are falling apart. And so we're trying to get a contractor or a bid in getting that all repaired, so we don't have any more damage. Were you able to contact anybody or come up with anybody yet?
Yes. So. Tubes. Third contractor.
Okay. In light of that, could we push this off to, would next meeting give enough time, or should we go to the end of September? We're trying to get it done before snow flies. By next meeting? Okay, question.
Question, just for public knowledge, if Kyle's company decides to do that, we know we have to advertise it and tell you all that it's a conflict. So, we know that and that would happen. So,
Correct.
On the building, mortars coming up, or you just gonna tin it?
Well, we were debating whether or not we could can it, and we were leaving it up to the contractors to take a look at it, see if it wouldn't be better to refinish it,
Repair
repair mortar.
it. The top surface has a waterproof drain coating over the top brick, right now it's separated, cracked out. So water's getting into the old brick, deteriorating the inside. So we need to resurface the whole top by taking it down, grinding it off. The value looks like. Repair it, put a treated plane, then cap it with a kick off, with water spread.
Which would be similar to what we had did on this side.
Correct.
And so that's the project we're looking at, okay? So to entertain a motion to push this off until next council meeting. And see if we can get all 3 bids in.
Excellent.
Second, any other question from public or from council? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, passes. We would like to open bids for the library gutter drainage repair. But we have none. However, and I think Susan was talking with Jimbo Fisk. No, we've not seen anything, but there was discussion at one point that he's gonna be doing his. Going from his building out to the street to drain, and that's kind of what we want to do with the libraries. And there was talk that maybe we could work on that project together and share some costs in that. And so, since there is no bids. I don't know when.
I'll reach. Gone. He is here again. Oh,
Maybe we can contact him and get it. Be that or, okay, but we need to push this off until next meeting, for sure. So can we have an, motion to push this off on next meeting? For a second? Okay, any additional questions, thoughts? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same, passes. Okay, report of public works.
Water management between the water tank, now we're grinding sand. Did a really great meeting. We have hit with several locates. That's all I have.
Something for the public to maybe note, Chip is out. Had an operation, and so he's gonna be gone for another, 4 weeks?
4 to 6.
4 to 6, okay. So, just to keep that in mind when you're asking the city crew to do a lot more than what they have manpower for, okay? Anita?
Just been working on the journal vouchers for the audit, and we got our Collect grant in. The library got their money this year. Golf course also did, and then we got money for the weed program, pet program, recycling, and maybe that was it, 3 of them, and the pool house roof.
Okay,
13,000.
okay, for my report, you know, with the audit and everything involved with that, it's been kind of an interesting time, trying to get our budget ready. You know that we started the budget last week, I think it was, And it's open until Monday, when we will finalize our budget,
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
1st.
Okay, I'm sorry, the first of September, because we have to have it finalized by the 1st of September, so the county gets it and we can post it elsewhere, isn't it? But anyway, that's coming up, and so we've been working on a lot of, how do we make the budget work? And where do we go with it? There are some good things because of, our rate increases. There's some possibilities with being able to get our enterprise funds paying for themselves for the first time in several years. And so that's a very positive thing, but we're working on making it all balance. We do have a meeting tomorrow with Jason Saylor and Tanya Garber, and with the City County Preservation Committee here at City Office, and so we'll see how all that turns out too. All I have, Brent?
Thanks, Mayor. Most of you, the council certainly knows, I finished my review of the Civic Plus recodification project, all of the chapters of the city codes as they currently exist, and sent that to the attorney working with Civic Plus. I had a conversation with her both Thursday and Friday. I will communicate to her if she could send one or two chapters revised back to us at a time, and I will contact her tomorrow. She is quite responsive and often answers her phone well after work, because they're 2 hours ahead of us in Tallahassee, Florida. And she's been always accessible and always takes my call. So that is the update on that. The criminal side, we had 2 changes of plea today. One case involved negligent endangerment. The other case was somewhat unusual, but in any event, we had 2 changes of pleas. I do have a partner family member assault jury trial set for September 24th, and met with one of the witnesses this afternoon at the library. I think that one will probably go to trial. It takes some preparation, as you folks did probably, I guess. And I also had a good meeting with the sheriff today concerning some things that I think could use some improvement, and he was very willing and receptive with that. So.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any question from the public about any of these reports? Any comment, questions? The sheriff's office is not represented here this evening. So what items do we have for the next meeting?
Next meeting, we have the library roof. Last meeting in September, we have the local government packages, and the budget hearing is September 1st.
Else?
I looked through, but I didn't see anything else. Oh, that one too.
Line in the meeting to open some.
How long do you want to give them?
Would 2 weeks be normal? Is that normal, or is that too short?
Labor Day is gonna be in the middle of that, so you might want to do it. So. In that kind of,
Second meeting in
maybe
September.
you wanna give them that till-
Because that'll be September
You just don't, I just don't. know.
22nd.
So it's something like that.
I have calendar. It will be.
September 22nd. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll get that advertised if you give me some pictures.
okay. We're lucky we're down to the last item. Approval of the claims. Second, any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same, passes. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Good job.